packed deep dive discussion where we explore the ideas, strategies, stories, and inspiration that truly matter.
Today we're diving into Gary Vaynerchuk's book, 12 and a Half, Leveraging the Emotional Ingredients Necessary for Business Success.
Yeah, and we're not just summarizing. We want to really pull out those core emotional skills he talks about, the ones you actually need for, business and just life.
Exactly. Think of it as getting to the heart of it, the actionable stuff you can use day to day.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So what's really interesting from the start is this focus on, well, emotional capabilities. Gary V argues they're the real engine behind success that lasts.
Right, not just the hard skills. He lists 12, plus this kind of curious half ingredient.
And he sees them as foundational, not just for work, but for a more, fulfilling life overall.
So our plan here is to go through each one, get his take, and figure out how you can actually use these ideas.
Sounds good. Let's start.
Okay, first up, gratitude. And this isn't just like saying thanks.
No, definitely not. He talks about it as a fundamental shift, right? Moving from scarcity, what you don't have, to abundance, focusing on what you do have.
It's a mindset thing, basically, seeing the glass as half full.
Exactly. And the book links this directly to some pretty practical benefits, like it helps you keep perspective when things get tough.
Which they always do.
Always. It also boosts your mental well-being, helps you make clearer decisions because you're not operating from fear or, constant wanting.
And that plays out in business, too, doesn't it? He mentions how a culture of gratitude makes for a better workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. It attracts good people, and it helps keep them. People want to feel appreciated. It's pretty basic.
So how do you actually do gratitude? The book has suggestions, right?
Practical stuff, like keeping a gratitude journal, actively writing down positives, or just making a point to thank people specifically for their work.
Even starting meetings by acknowledging wins?
Yeah, acknowledging positives. It's about building it into the routine, making it intentional, not just waiting for big moments.
It's about reframing things, too. Even the negatives. Finding something to appreciate.
Spot on.
So for you listening, maybe think, what's one small way you could practice gratitude today? Just one thing.
Okay, moving on to self-awareness. This feels huge. Maybe the foundation for all the others.
It really does. Vaynerchuk defines it as, well, honestly understanding yourself. Your strengths, sure, but also your weaknesses.
And your triggers. What pushes your buttons emotionally.
Right. And knowing that stuff is crucial for growth, isn't it? If you don't know your limits, how can you delegate effectively or build a balanced team?
Exactly. You end up trying to do everything, or you put the wrong people in the wrong spots. Good self-awareness helps you build a much stronger team.
It also stops you from making those ego-driven mistakes, when you're blind to your own flaws.
Oh, definitely. We've all seen leaders stumble because of blind spots. Self-awareness is like that internal check. And he argues it just accelerates your whole development path.
So how do you build it? What does the book suggest?
Well, seeking honest feedback is a big one, even the uncomfortable kind.
Yeah, I gotta ask for it.
And then regular self-reflection, like actually taking time to think about your actions, your reactions, noticing patterns.
And being honest about excuses or blame, too. That's tough.
Very tough. So the question for you is, what's one step you could take, maybe this week, to get a clearer, more honest picture of yourself? Maybe asking one person for feedback.
Or just 5 minutes of quiet reflection each day. Okay, next up, accountability.
This one sounds simple, but it's often not easy in practice. Taking full ownership. Full stop.
No excuses, no finger pointing, wins and losses.
Yeah. And Vaynerchuk really hammers home how vital this is for building trust and credibility. People trust you when they know you own your stuff.
Makes sense. And it helps with problem solving too, right? If everyone's busy blaming, nobody's fixing.
Exactly. Energy goes to the wrong place. Plus, he makes a great point that owning mistakes actually helps you learn faster. It creates space for innovation, for trying things.
So how do you encourage it, practically speaking?
The book suggests things like acknowledging mistakes openly, shifting conversations towards solutions, not blame, tracking commitments clearly.
Rewarding accountability, too.
Yeah, recognizing it when you see it in others, it reinforces the culture.
So thinking about yourself, how could you strengthen your own accountability and maybe encourage it more in your team or family?
Good question. Let's shift gears to optimism.
But he calls it strategic optimism, right? It's not just blind positivity.
No, not at all. It's more about actively looking for the opportunities hidden within challenges, seeing potential where others might just see problems.
Okay, so it's a specific skill, believing in positive outcomes, focusing on growth, even when things are difficult.
Right. And leaders with this kind of outlook, they inspire their teams. They navigate bumps with more resilience. It fuels sustainable growth, provided it's balanced with realism.
And he says it's a choice, something you can develop.
Absolutely. Not just something you're born with. You can train yourself.
How? What are the techniques?
Well, consciously looking for the upside in any challenge. Using optimistic language how you talk about things matters.
Surrounding yourself with positive people helps too, I imagine.
Definitely. And crucially, distinguishing this realistic optimism from just, you know, ignoring real risks. It's not about being naive.
So, for you listening, how can you train yourself to be more strategically optimistic without losing touch with reality? Maybe reframe one challenge you're facing right now.
Okay, next.
Empathy. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes, really getting their perspective and feelings.
And again, the book argues this isn't just nice to have, it's a core business skill. Understanding customers leads to better products, right?
Makes total sense. And better relationships with your team, with clients.
It creates psychological safety. People feel heard, understood. And Vaynerchuk suggests that understanding the emotions behind a business problem can often unlock the solution.
Interesting. So how do you practice empathy?
Active listening is huge. Like really listening, not just waiting to talk. Asking questions about how others feel, what their experience is.
Considering different viewpoints, maybe? Like mapping out stakeholder perspectives.
Exactly. Using tools like empathy mapping. It's about making a conscious effort to see beyond your own viewpoint.
So maybe think about a recent conversation you had. Could you have understood the other person's feelings or perspective better? What could you have asked?
Let's talk kindness.
Which some people might see as soft in business.
But Vaynerchuk flips that. He argues it's a real competitive advantage. Kind leaders build loyalty. They build strong networks.
It's like those small acts add up over time, creating goodwill.
Precisely, they compound. But importantly, he stresses balancing kindness with candor and accountability. You can be kind and direct.
They aren't opposites, so being kind doesn't mean being a pushover.
Not at all. Practical ways to do it. Look for chances to help, remember small personal details, give praise generously, create people-first policies.
Simple things, really.
Often, yes. So think about it. What's one intentional act of kindness you could weave into your work interactions this week? A small gesture.
Good prompt. Now tenacity, sheer persistence.
Yep, that grit, that refusal to quit when things get hard. The book paints it as a key differentiator for long-term success.
And viewing setbacks not as failures, but as lessons.
Exactly. Learning opportunities. Pick yourself up, figure out what went wrong, keep going. But, and this is key, balance tenacity with flexibility.
And self-awareness, again, knowing when to pivot versus just banging your head against a wall.
Right. Sometimes adapting is the tenacious move.
Yeah.
He also mentions mental and physical stamina being important here. It takes endurance.
So how do you build that?
Develop resilient habits. Break big challenges into smaller steps so they don't feel overwhelming. Celebrate the effort, the persistence itself.
Not just the win at the end.
Exactly. And use past successes to fuel you through tough times. Remind yourself you've overcome things before.
So, facing a challenge now, what strategies can help you stay tenacious? What small daily actions build that resilience?
Let's move to curiosity.
The engine of innovation, Vaynerchuk calls it, stops you from getting stuck.
It's that drive to explore, learn, ask questions. He really emphasizes asking better questions, digging deeper.
Not just accepting things as they are. And curious leaders create learning cultures, right?
Yeah, places where new ideas can actually surface and be explored. And that beginner's mindset is powerful, even if you're an expert. Seeing things fresh.
So how do you cultivate it? Seems like something you need to actively nurture.
Definitely. Schedule time just to explore or learn. Ask why and what if a lot more. Expose yourself to different ideas, different people.
Challenge your own assumptions.
Constantly. So how can you inject more curiosity into your day? Maybe block 30 minutes this week to explore something totally unrelated to your work.
Or just ask more open-ended questions in your next meeting. Okay, patience.
Strategic patience, specifically. Understanding that big results, the compound returns, often take time.
Resisting that urge for everything now. Playing the long game.
But again, with balance. It's not an excuse for inaction or procrastination. You still need decisive action when it's called for.
It's knowing when to wait and when to move. Building anything worthwhile takes time.
Right. Practical tips. Set both short-term goals to feel progress and long-term goals for direction. Celebrate the small wins. Practice mindfulness, maybe, to be more present.
And know the difference between being patient and just putting things off.
Crucial distinction.
Sure.
So for your big goals, how can you cultivate more strategic patience while still taking consistent action?
Good question. Next, conviction.
This is about that deep, strong belief in your vision, your values.
Believing in what you're doing. And that helps you push through obstacles, doesn't it? Gives you courage for tough decisions.
Absolutely. And it needs to be genuine conviction, not just going with the flow or being easily swayed. When it's real, it inspires others too.
People sense that commitment.
They do.
Yeah.
So practically, articulate your core values and vision clearly. Make decisions that align with them. Stand firm on important things.
But stay open to new information.
Yeah, balance conviction with humility and openness. Don't let it become dogma.
So how can you strengthen your own conviction in what you believe and communicate it effectively?
No, humility.
Recognizing you don't know everything. Being open to learning.
And the book argues this actually opens doors. When you admit you don't know, you attract people who can teach you. You learn faster.
Humble leaders also build more collaborative teams, right? Because they value everyone's input.
Exactly. It's finding that sweet spot between confidence and humility. You need both.
How do you practice it?
Ask for help. Ask for feedback. Give credit generously to others. Admit mistakes readily. And listen more than you talk.
Seems simple, but powerful.
Very. So what steps could you take for greater humility? Maybe asking for feedback on something specific. Or focusing on listening in your next conversation.
Okay, almost there. Ambition.
Healthy ambition, though. That drive to achieve, to make an impact. It gives you motivation, direction.
But Vaynerchuk adds a warning, doesn't he? It needs balance.
Absolutely. Balance personal achievement with positive impact. Align success with your values. Ambition without the other skills, like empathy or kindness, can be destructive.
Yeah, it can lead to that win-at-all-costs thing.
Right. So practically, set meaningful goals that align with your values. Revisit what success really means to you. Use ambition responsibly. Find motivators beyond just money or status.
So, reflecting on your own ambition, is it aligned with your values? Does it contribute to something bigger?
And finally, the half ingredient, candor.
Direct, honest communication.
Yep. Builds trust, saves time, cuts through the noise. But how you deliver it is critical.
Delivery matters. Needs courage, but also empathy and kindness. Can't just be brutal honesty.
No, it needs care. A culture where candor is normal, where feedback is welcome, improves everything, especially decision-making.
How do you build that culture?
Practice giving difficult feedback respectfully. Set clear norms around honesty. Ask for candid feedback yourself. And always, always balance directness with empathy.
So how can you foster more candor, more honest conversations in your life, both at work and personally, in a way that's safe and productive?
So wrapping up, these 12.5 ingredients, they really are interconnected, aren't they? They work together.
Yeah, it's a whole system. And mastering all of them all the time, that's probably impossible.
Right. But actively working on them, strengthening these emotional muscles, as Vaynerchuk puts it, can make a huge difference. They aren't fixed traits.
Absolutely. You can develop these skills. So for you listening, maybe just pick one. Which one resonates most right now? Where's your biggest opportunity for growth?
Thanks for listening. Grab Ysh Estayo's latest book on Amazon. Need business consulting, artificial intelligence, book writing, and publishing? Ysh has your back. Contact Ysh Estayo or leave a comment. Until next time, keep diving deep.
And consider this. How could consistently applying just one of these emotional ingredients start to shift things for you over the next year? What ripple effect could it create?